What's up everyone, this is NyhlekDreams and we've got some great info here today for those of you trying to figure out how to obtain the new team perks in the hero rework system. I've seen a lot of people asking how they can obtain these and I'm here to deliver. So for anyone that isn't quite familiar yet, team perks are a slottable perk here under the commander slot, and you don't have to actually put a commander in this area to activate a perk, but you will need to obtain specific heroes to open up the ability to use certain perks here. Now, I've been searching high and low in the game and haven't been able to find where you can unlock these. I've gone to the quest log and I've looked in current quests as well as all these completed ones, and the only mention that I found was in one quest that was like a completion of an SSD, and it was very vague. It didn't even tell me which of the team perks that I got. I've also gone over to the armory in the collection book because you can unlock it through mythic heroes. Some of them are passive that you get with the game, but others are unlocked through mythic heroes, and I've gone to Raven. Carbide's another one, and I've kind of scrolled through here. We'll pull them up here and, you know, look here. There was no mention of them here, no mention of them in the perks, and so really there just wasn't any sort of like give on trying to figure out where we could do it in the game. Epic is pretty bad about giving us a tutorial. We all know that we haven't really ever been able to know where we were with the game. Starting out, we didn't have any tutorials. So unfortunately, we're going to actually have to go over to a spreadsheet where we can see a list of all the ones that are available in the game currently. Now, to avoid having to use the scroll bar too much, I'm going to be zoomed out a bit here, so I apologize if it's harder to see. And before we get started, I want to give a huge thank you to Angel Cruz. They're the one that provided me with this link, and I just want to show all of my appreciation. I am really grateful that we are going to be able to look at this team perk and, you know, be able to better understand where they come from. I'm going to be providing a link to this in the description for anyone that wants to come back and check this out on their own, but mainly what we're going to be doing is looking at the team perk and seeing which mythic hero it's attached to, as well as giving a brief description of what the team perk does. We're not going to go too in depth on the description because I've noticed that some of these are slightly different than the tooltip or what's listed for the description in the game and how you activate it. So it shouldn't be too far off, but I don't want to confuse anyone with like giving this description and it not being what lines up with in game. So the first one that we have up here is Wukong with Soaring Mantis, and that gains 2 extra Mantis leaps. So that's great for ninjas to be able to get, you know, more maneuverability with their leaps. The next one we have is Quick Draw Calamity with Hot Swap, and eliminations increase damage for all weapon types for a time. Stacks 1 time for each weapon type's eliminations. The next one that we have up is Master Grenadier Ramirez. That is Cool Customer, and I know a lot of people thought that she was providing the keep out for the grenades, but it seems that she's doing Cool Customer, which is using an ability while Frosty lowers the cooldown of all active soldier abilities and removes the Frosty effect. So if anyone is not familiar with what Frosty is, it's actually the new passive class perk for soldiers. It's called Stay Frosty, and if anyone's curious, I'm also going to leave a description to my class perks video so that you guys can get familiarized with what the class perks are. But we're going to go ahead and scroll on down and move to the next one. We've got Raven up with Preemptive Strike. For each match, deal bonus damage to enemies with full life. Now what this means by match is basically you have to match like a set, or, you know, meet the requirements in game. If it says to have a certain amount of like star 4 heroes or a certain rarity, that's what it's going to mean by match here. But Preemptive Strike is actually a really good one. It's a nice boost for any husk that has a full life. If you're like the first person to tag it. So that's actually a really nice one for maybe like some Stalwart Squire users to pack a punch on a first hit, or some people that like using snipers like myself. The next one we have is Carbide, which is Underdog. For each match, increase healing based on how many enemies are near you. So this is kind of somewhat of a survivalist type perk. You're going to be able to keep yourself healed up. The next one we have is Mega Base Kyle with Supercharged Traps. Increase damage done by all traps within the base. That's a pretty nice boon to have. The next one was Stillwool Sid with Boom Base. Buffs damage in the radius around the base. Moving on down, we have Dire, which has the Hunter's Instinct. Eliminations during the night or evening grant a damage bonus and a melee life leech per matching hero. Next one we have is Link's Bioenergy Source. Spending energy restores shield per hero per point of energy spent. So it looks kind of like it's a scaling for the amount of energy that you use up. You're going to be restored a certain amount of shields. Next we have the Cloaked Star, which has Round Trip. Throwing stars return to you after hitting their targets or after a certain time. Bladestorm Enforcer with Endless Shadow increases shadow stance duration per matching hero. We've got Swordmaster Ken with 1-2 punch. After an ability cast, the next melee costs 20% less per match. So based upon the amount of matches that you have in your squad, it's going to give 20% per each one of those to your next heavy melee cost being reduced. Then we have Zero Zenith with Shake It Off, reduces duration of elemental status effects applied to you. Ragnarok with Slow Your Roll on taking melee damage, freeze husks and slow mist monsters. Field Agent Rio with Phase Blaster, grants Phase Cannon every few seconds. And then Phase Scout Jess with Shifting Gears, grant extra charges on phase shift, but reduces the range. So for each amount of match that you have for this one, the phase shift is going to give extra charges, but it's not going to transfer you as far. So with a lot of these, I did notice that they didn't quite match up with the wording that was in game, so it could be confusing to try and go too in depth on these. But it is pretty interesting to see that we have at least all the ones available here, and we can know where to actually obtain these and which mythic heroes we can go for. So if you guys have any of those vouchers left over, you might want to look at which one of these, team perks that you could get and see which ones actually benefit you so that you can boost your play style. And for the rest of the team perks that are actually available in the game, Epic did say that they were just granting those as passive team perks, that you should have been able to acquire them just by playing the game. I imagine that Storm Shield I mentioned earlier may have granted access to one, if not all of them. We don't really know how much, as I said, it was pretty vague. But if you don't have any of these ones linked to the mythic heroes, the rest of the ones that you have are ones that just came passively. So hopefully this was really helpful for you guys in finding out which mythic heroes can get you access to the ones that you've been seeing around, and maybe which ones that you kind of wanted to implement into your squads. And I'm just glad that we were able to get a chart here so that we could see which perks were actually tied to which heroes in the game, since there was no tooltip or tutorial on helping us figure out where we could find these in the game. But that's about all we can talk about here. Again, you guys can come back and look at this anytime you want. It's going to be useful for much more than just seeing which team perks are linked to which mythic heroes, as it does list each and every hero and what their standard as well as their Commander Plus perk is. But that's it for this video, and I just want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.